Welcome to the UCLI Legal Lounge, a podcast helping you on your journey to law school. My name is Sabrina Ruiz-Monroy, and I'm the Associate Director at UCLI. Each episode, we interview law students, lawyers, and law admissions experts to bring you insight and tips on making the path to law school a little bit easier. This podcast is brought to you by the Utah Center for Legal Inclusion, or UCLI for short. And UCLI is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing the goals of fairness, opportunity, and inclusion in Utah's legal profession. We work to encourage people of all ages and backgrounds to consider joining the legal profession. Our episode this week is brought to you by Utah Podcast Studio. Utah Podcast Studio is a premier recording facility located in West Jordan, dedicated to empowering creations by providing a world-class environment for audio and video production. Their mission is to amplify voices with confidence and clarity and fostering a creative space where impactful stories are shared and communities are built. Learn more about them at utahpodcaststudio.com. And for today's episode, I'm joined by Eli Leggett. Eli is not only new to the Utah legal community, but he's also new to Utah itself, having relocated from the East Coast after graduating law school. He currently practices at Strong Hanni on the aviation, construction, and insurance defense teams. Before moving to Utah, Eli clerked in Orlando, Florida at a labor law firm where he worked with some of the largest labor unions in the country. Eli earned his bachelor's degree in political science from Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania, followed by his JD from West Virginia University College of Law in 2023. While in law school, he served in leadership roles, including president of the ACLU chapter, president of Labor Law Society, and leader within the Employment Lawyers Association. Outside the courtroom, Eli enjoys hanging out with his cat, Wayne, playing The Legend of Zelda, and dreaming about being cast in Survivor. We're going to talk about that. He is barred in both Utah and West Virginia and is open to recommendations for the best restaurants in Salt Lake City. Welcome, and thank you for being here, Eli.
Thank you, Sabrina. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be here.
The first thing I want to talk about is the East Coast. So you grew up on the East Coast. How do you think your upbringing shaped your interest in higher education and then eventually in the space of law?
I grew up in Maryland and then moved to Pennsylvania with my family. It was only like 5 minutes north of the border, so not too crazy different. Me and my friends like to say that we came up out the mud. You know what I mean? If you ever heard that.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just my parents didn't go to college. No one in my family had. And so for me, it was just, I don't want to really particularly stay here. Don't want to work in my small town. So I kind of just knew I had to do something a little bit different. And so that kind of propelled me. I didn't know really what I wanted to do after high school and getting into college, but I just knew that I wanted to at least leave the coop a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and did you always know that you wanted to go to college? I mean, you said it's a small town and your parents didn't go to college. So.
Yeah, no, my mom was like, you're going. My dad was like, you're going. It wasn't really a question. It was more so just I did really well in high school. It wasn't hard for me. I grew up my neighbors were super down with Jesus. They would always go to church. And so they would take me and my sister. And I remember in the summers, they would always have this church camp. My mom was like, we're not paying for that. But they would do if you memorize the most Bible verses, you would get it for free.
And you were that good.
I was that good. I just was really good at memorizing things and just repeat it to myself really quickly and then lock it in. So that was always for school. That was, I think, all you really had to do up until college.
I wish I had that superpower. I feel like I have to spend hours just to memorize something, but might as well use it for that, right?
Exactly. For free camp. It was awesome.
Well, you've told us before in a separate conversation that you were the first in your family to graduate from college. How did you being a first generation student affect your path in your career? What, were you ever nervous about what you were going to do after you graduated college?
Definitely.
Too?
I think it made me definitely more self-sufficient because you don't really have that backboard to lean on. Obviously, you have your parents who will help you and support you, but there are a lot of times you get questions or you go into situations where you don't really have, I guess, a blueprint of really how to handle that. And so I think going through college and then definitely in law school, there were a lot of situations where I had to, I could explain it to my mom and kind of figure out what her thoughts were. But then there was the whole next step was kind of me just figuring out on my own, making these my own decisions and then kind of like cataloging my own experiences like for the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and did you ever at any point, I guess, when you were in undergrad, did you have any mentors helping you?
Definitely. I had a lot of my professors, I think, especially once I got into like political science and kind of realized that I did want to go.
Say it's kind of that, jumping point into law school, but some people don't end up doing that. So I'm just really curious.
Like I said, political science professors, I think, were the ones who kind of definitely helped like steer me onto the right course when it came to getting into law school. But when I was just kind of like floating through college, like figuring out what I wanted to do, it was really just like me against the world.
And so you spoke with your professors, you were in poli-sci, and I'm assuming you probably joined some clubs and, got exposed to this world of law. But how did you even jump into law? Like what was it for you that said, I'm going to go to law school?
Yeah. So when I started college, I got into like Pittsburgh's pre-med program, which was like huge.
Whoa. Okay. So you wanted to go to medical school.
Right. Yeah. And then I got in, like everything was rolling. And then I turned 18 and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So then I was like, I'm just going to go to the beach for a year. And so I like threw that away to go to coastal Carolina down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, thinking like I would be a marine biologist. And I thought like marine biology, I was like, I'll be swimming with sharks. Like I'm going to Bimini Bay. That's the only real career path here.
Whoa. Okay.
And so I was there and they told me like, well, you could work at the alligator park down here. So that's when I kind of switched up. So I transferred to Bloomsburg. That's when I got plugged into political science. And when it came to choosing law school, so I worked at this old restaurant. It was called the Farmhouse and Inn at Turkey Hill. It was like an 1800s farmhouse that they had repurposed into a restaurant. It was like fine dining. Like I had to wear like a tie, button up, the whole thing. And there was a judge who was on like the board of trustees at school, and she would come in there for dinner with like different board members. And so I think the moment that I was like, maybe I'll do law school, I was trying to just talking to her, and she is like very forward. I ended up working for her. So she's like really direct, like in your face. Like she wants to know the answer to a question immediately. So she's just grilling me. She's like, why do you want to go to law school? Tell me. And I was like, I think I want an in-ground pool. I was like,
you didn't know your why yet.
Yeah, I didn't know my why yet. I was like, I like the money and like I want an in-ground pool. She's like, that's fine. Like, yeah, just say that. And I was like, okay, cool. So I think that
at least you owned up to it.
Right,
yeah, like you were transparent with her about
exactly.
that.
And so I think that was the moment that I was like, yeah, I think I'll go to law school. Like I can handle a judge like this. Like I think I'll be all right.
Wow. And I think obviously there are going to be so many different reasons why people want to go to law school, but I think once people figure out their why, they don't really know what the next step is. Mm-hmm. So for you, after you figured out your why and your pool, right? Like what was it for you that you thought of in terms of, okay, this is my next step. This is what I have to do. And because just a lot of people don't know what to do after that.
Yeah. I think after that discussion, I think I obviously took like a step back and was like, okay, let's seriously think about it. And I think I just kind of realized like that going through like kind of my skills and like what I'm good at, it would fit the best for me, like being analytical, unfortunately, like very argumentative. So that's why kind of what steered me there. But for me, I remember our college had just opened what was called the Deal Center for Law. Like an alumni had donated money to help set up this like little organization. And there was a professor named Dr. Selznick. And so was like my first step, was trying to get involved with like whatever group on campus or like professor that could really help me figure out like the logistics of what the LSAT's going to be like, what does applying look like, kind of all the things that like UCLI does for pre-law students. It was very similar.
Okay. So just networking at that point or I should say finding anybody in your institution that knows anything about law school.
Yeah, just like sniffing out the resources was like the main thing.
So reach out to law advisors, reach out to professors. I'm assuming you spoke to your poli-sci professors as well.
So I spoke to my poli-sci professors in undergrad and kind of got plugged into, I think, the classes that like they recommended that they thought would be helpful. Like I took a con law class in undergrad. It was a lot more like a Jerry Springer show. Like we would just fight about our beliefs. But it was fun, like enjoyed it. And so, I think just finding those resources and like asking the right people the right questions. Yeah.
Do you feel like you did enough of that? Like if you went back at that point of your life, like would you have done even more, taken more classes? I feel like there are so many students right now that have even asked me, like, Sabrina, do I take this philosophy class? Do I take, this class? I feel like that's going to beef up my resume. I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, I mean, my response is I don't want you to be, overwhelmed. I don't want somebody to be overwhelmed, but at the same time, I want them to take classes that they think are really going to help them? I don't know. What would you say to that?
Listen, you know
Like, I already
me
know.
as like I am the biggest like law school hater. Like and like we'll obviously get into that. And so for me,
Yeah.
I think that it's hard, like especially being a student going through this and like not knowing what like the end goal looks like.
Right.
But for me, like looking back on it, I would have done less. Like I
Okay.
really think that like you're unless you're trying to really set yourself up for like uber success, like you want to get into like one of those top 14 law schools.
Yeah.
You want to be like on the law review and all those things. Like if you have those types of goals, then yes, start beefing up your resume, join the clubs that you think will help, take the classes you think will help. But if you are just like, no, I think I just want to practice like either back home or just kind of like a low key type of law life,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Like
Okay.
what's going to matter, and we'll talk about, is like your first few years out of law school. I guess we're going to be really important for your career, not what you did in law school and pre-law.
And that is really different than I think what most people would tell.
100%. I don't get it. Like I'm not like I said, I hated it. I hated
Yeah.
law school. I hated the whole schooling and like the stress of
Yeah.
like I have to get this job. I'm the type where like it doesn't go my way, the world's gonna end tomorrow. So like very Chicken Little of me. So for me, I was like, yeah, I would not put that on anybody else.
Which is really helpful. And I think hopefully that, releases some of the stress off of the people listening. And at the end of the day, there are going to be so many different types of people. You've got those type A's who are, want to be in the
Exactly.
T14. You have those that are like, I want to do transactional law because I'm a working mom and I just want to chill or whatever. Like there is a lifestyle, it sounds like, for everyone to be an attorney and practice what they want to do. Which, speaking of lifestyle, I wanted to ask this next question about your time before you went to law school. So it's my understanding you were a bartender. Is that right?
I bartended and I was a tour guide.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like a campus. I had 2 jobs getting ready to go to law school. It was crazy.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, can you tell me more about those job experiences and how you feel that helped prepare you for law school?
So I've been working since I was 12. My first job was in like a snowball stand of my dad's friend. I worked like 8 hours and he gave me a $20 bill. And I was like, this is legendary. Like, best day ever.
Wow.
So I just worked all throughout high school, middle school. And so same with college. I had 2 jobs like while studying for the LSAT and applying all these places. And I think it just helped me.
Which a lot of students, by the way, are experiencing right now. So this is great.
Definitely. And I think when it comes to law school, it's gonna teach you diligence and like how to really stay on top of your things. Like for me, I kind of need like the pressure put up. I need the walls to like box me in. I need to know that like, well, I have to do X, Y, and Z because then I have to work at 4:30, and then like tonight I have to go and do this. And so I liked the structure of being very busy. But I also think that just dealing with like the general public is going to be a benefit to any lawyer, whether you are in like business contractual work or like family law or anything like that, where you're actually dealing with the general public. And so for me, I would say like, yeah, my jobs of just dealing with every type of person every day has just kind of helped me be pretty prepared for like what law brings to an attorney.
So, I mean, that job was part of your overall preparation experience for law school. What else did you, I guess, describe that experience preparing in general? So obviously you took the LSAT.
Yes.
You were working maybe on your resume with some other clubs, whatever you were, trying to get into. But overall, how was that experience just preparing for law school? What did that all encompass?
I again have to shout out Dr. Selznick. Like she was such a huge help for me.
Hopefully she listens.
I know. She probably will. But she kind of did everything, like checked our cover letters, our resumes, our like personal statements. But for me, I didn't really know what the proper studying for the LSAT looked like, what the application process to schools looked like. So I definitely didn't do my best with the LSAT. I think I bought one of those like 5-pound test prep books that you can get
like a Power Score.
Yeah, you can just get on like Amazon. And so I just did that for like 2 weeks and was like, this sucks. And so after that, I kind of just took the LSAT and decided to roll with it. The one thing I did that was super helpful, I went to so the LSAT, LSAC, like their organization group does like in New York this big kind of like a law school fair where like every single law school, it feels like, in the world is there, and you can kind of go around table to table. Now,
and so did you fly out to New York for this?
No, so I was in school in Bloomsburg, so we actually took like a shuttle bus from campus up there. Like Dr. Selznick got it all set up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so she took I think 10 of us up there that were in this Center for Law. And my advice to anyone listening to this is, admissions counselors are great, but they are also like, they can swindle you. So when I walked around with my 154 LSAT score and like my 3.2 GPA, they were like, well, we don't really care about scores. We just want really cool people. And I was like, oh, I'm the coolest person I know. So I was like, I'm applying to like Villanova. I applied to Notre Dame. I applied to Michigan. I have Syracuse. I applied to all these like massive schools because I was like, well, they told me like they just want cool people.
They told you it's holistic.
Yeah, and so then I got like all these rejection letters. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I thought y'all wanted me.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what my advice. Like, don't take their words like too literally, like I did as a 21-year-old. But yeah, that's kind of it was my process. Is like just anything that I could get through the Deal Center of Law, I just kind of took and ran with.
Well, and thank you so much for sharing that. I think that, I mean, these schools are all businesses at the end of the day as well. So they've got to hit specific quotas, right? And I always speak to the pre-law fellows that we have at UCLI, and there are definitely aspects of your application that will always stand, like your personal statements, that better be amazing, right? But your LSAT score and your GPA like are very important, and I'd say sometimes even more so your LSAT score.
I know, I did. I literally, oh man. So
what kind of tips would you give to this person listening to the podcast right now who's like, man, I am Eli? What kind of tips can I use from him to help me on this journey?
Yeah, I think the biggest tip is just like, there are so many people out there who will be resources and who want to help you and who have the answers. Right. And it sucks to ask questions. Like, I get it. Even now, as like I'm about to turn 28, I've been a lawyer for like 2 years now. I still hate asking for like help and asking for guidance, but that's like, no, that's number one. Like, just ask. What are they going to do? Say no, or I don't know.
Or correct you.
Or correct you, or like, or they'll direct you to like somebody who does know. So that's my first thing, is like definitely try to build your network with like being vulnerable and asking those types of questions. And then second, just like trust your gut on things. You're going to run into a lot of situations where you think that it's a little stinky. And if you think that, then dig into it, find out why. I don't know, just kind of being a lawyer, you really have to kind of have like your own, I watch a lot of anime. So like they was like, aura farming, like you got to have your own aura about you and like know kind of
that term I've never heard.
Yeah. So like you got to kind of like know how you move through like the world, like how you kind of carve out your own path. And so I think building that with like I said, like trusting your gut, making decisions that are going to be tough. I think that's going to be super helpful and shape you for down the road decisions.
No, that's really great. Well, I mean, ultimately, Eli, you decided on West Virginia College of Law, right?
I did.
Why? What was it for you that just was like, yeah, that makes sense for me. This is where I will succeed. I mean, or what was going through your head at that time?
So a little revisionist history. I'll give you both versions.
Okay.
The real version is that, as I said, I applied to all these big schools thinking that they wanted me, so I wasted a lot of money on my application fees.
Did you ask for any waivers, by the way? As a first-gen student, I don't know if was that.
No, and then like I think towards the back half of like applying is when I realized that I could. So like for college, I remember I asked everybody for a waiver. I was like, I can't pay it, and they're like, you just like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I can't do it. I can't. So sorry.
I just can't.
And they gave it to me. For college or for law school, I kind of like only a few I had asked, but. So when I applied to law school, I think I applied to like 10 and I got into only 2. Like I only got into Widener Commonwealth, which had just opened, I think, like in the past like 5 or 10 years.
And sorry, where is that?
This is in right outside of Pennsylvania, I think in like Delaware.
Oh, okay.
So I got in there, and then I
both East Coast.
Yeah, but all East Coast schools for the main part. That was like I lived in South Central Pennsylvania, so both of these schools, West Virginia and Widener, were like 2 hours away.
Gotcha.
So I got in there, and then I got into West Virginia, and again, like not having like a requisite background and just making a really dumb choice. I was like, well, this school's only been open for 10 years. Like there's no way I'll be a successful lawyer coming out of it. And so I chose West Virginia. Big mistake. Like I got a really good scholarship from Widener, and like I just was like, nah, I don't think so. Like new kid on the block school, like I don't really want that.
Yeah.
So the revisionist history though is that when I got to West Virginia, I was really into like employment and labor law. Like I said, I've been working since I was a kid. And so I think for me, like labor and employment was the first time I had kind of seen like myself in plaintiffs, like as a worker. And so I didn't really like the management side of things. I was like, I've hated my bosses for so many different jobs. Like, no, I'm not going to be on that side of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, in one vein, I went to West Virginia because it was really close to home and one of the 2 options I had. But in the other vein, once I got there, I was like, okay, actually, I enjoy it here. I like the classes. And my answer to students is going to be like, when you are looking for schools, really dive into like the faculty and staff that are at these schools and like kind of see if they have anything that like you're interested in, and then kind of like research the professors who are going to teach that class. Or
Would
like,
you ever suggest them like emailing
for sure
that professor? Okay.
Yeah. So for me, like I went to West Virginia, and my professor there, Professor LaFaso, is like the brightest mind in like all of labor law. Like she went to Penn, to Harvard. She was in Harvard with, I think, Justice Gorsuch. Like they were in classes together.
Wow.
And then she went to Oxford in England to like study even more about like philosophy and jurisprudence. So like once I got there and started getting
Knows her
plugged
stuff,
in,
for
yeah,
sure.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like this is literally the peak mind of like this field. And so that would be my advice, is like, yeah, if you are thinking of any fields that you are potentially interested in, just start like scoping out those programs and professors to help you at least like decide on which school to go to.
That's really great advice. And did you at any point, okay, so you said, look at the professors, look at the different programs. Do you think that it matters what the ranking of that school
No.
is? Okay.
Again,
Yeah.
I think that's just like, it really depends. Like, and you have to, I could never in a billion years picture myself as being somebody who would like want to go to a T14 and then get into like a white shoe law firm. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's just not me.
That's not you.
I don't have enough couth for that. Like I'm from the mud, as I said, like I can't hang there. So unless like that's what you're after and like you're really aspiring for that, then yeah, I would suggest that. But if you are like, no, I just want to be a lawyer. Like, I just want to do this job. I think of like being a lawyer is like, you're kind of in this like weird, not like social class, but like you are kind of like right in this thin veil between like the government and bureaucracy and like the regular people. Like we're the ones who help people navigate this like complex system that's been set up by a bunch of people who like got put into power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're not really interested in like I said, like we call it white shoe law, where it's like the biggest like penthouse C-suite executive type of law, then yeah, I wouldn't worry about the ranking of a school. Like I think you're going to go through all of these classes, you're going to start applying for jobs, and you're going to get a job where you're an associate for an attorney who does work that you've never seen in your classes, right? And so you're going to be like, oh, that wasn't really that beneficial.
Yeah.
So
That's really helpful, because I have always, heard of other people making their list of schools based off of, they talk about class ranking. They obviously, and I would hope people also consider tuition, right? They talk about scholarships, using, maybe you applied to a school that you don't like, but then you can use it as a leverage when you're applying to another school, and hopefully that school gives you more money, but the programs help as well. So
I think in like practically speaking, like me, I went to an out-of-state law school. I went to out-of-state school my freshman year. And so to talk to like people before like all of their student loans start racking up, like you just have to like think logically about these things. Like I didn't, like I would look at I'm so upset I didn't. I think my biggest factors going back would be tuition and scholarships. Like, cause now I'm paying an obscene amount of money for like my student loans, and it's not like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter which school I would have went to.
You would have had the same outcome.
Yeah, I would have had the same outcome of being an attorney at the same firm. But it's like, I wish I would have saved some money along the way. And that would be, at least, like I said, for like a practical minded, like somebody who just is trying to get to law school and become an attorney, like think about the long term, the long game,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you're sitting here at West Virginia in the School of Law, and I'm curious to just kind of pick your brain. Did it meet your expectations? Did it surpass it? Did it? I see a smile forming. To be so candid.
I don't know what expectations I had going into it. Like, like I said, like I was really good at memorizing, which I think is like high school is all you have to do is memorize. And then like college, there's like some application and like putting it into words. Yeah. And so like that was like not as hard for me. Law school, it was awful. Like I didn't have expectations, but it like if I did, they would have been like it would have came way below the expectation line.
Okay,
and
why? Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's not like I wasn't like tortured or anything. It was just so hard. Like I had never really been around people that were like legally minded. I don't know. Like when I'm thinking back on it, like a lot of my classmates were like kids of lawyers, or like I think one of two of them were like their parents were on like the Supreme Court of West Virginia, like
Whoa.
like the appellate court.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was just this new like white collar world that I had like not been exposed to. Cause even my college, I think my college had like 10,000 people there. Like it wasn't,
wow.
yeah, like
Okay.
it wasn't this huge, like big campus. It was another, like I lived in a small town.
Everyone knows each other.
Yeah. It was enough to where like you knew, you could always walk by somebody you knew or like maybe not. But yeah, law school was just hell. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I hated it. Like yeah.
I mean, in college in general, at least I'm just thinking back to my experience. I went to BYU and I have loved many of the mentors that I got to be acquainted with. But in college in general, as a first gen student, there is a secret manual to things. There are things that only students who have had parents going there before understand, like add drop deadlines, scholarship applications, or, you know, speaking to a specific person about this program and when that opens up. Did you feel like there was a secret kind of manual in law school as well?
Definitely. I think not only like with those aspects of school, like the logistics of like how to kind of move through like your program and like the administrative aspects, but I think just like the way people communicate in law school and like in that field. Like I remember my first like legal writing class, like I said, like I don't have that much couth, like I came from the mud. And so when I would like speak about things, like I wouldn't like put together like a well articulated argument as to like what I was trying to say. Like I would just speak the way I would speak back home or like with my friends. And so I don't think that really came across well.
Yeah.
Like it would come across like I'd be arguing like a point, but it would come across like disrespectful. And that was my biggest like hurdle with law school, is like I kept being like, I would try to explain something and people would constantly like label it as like, this is disrespectful or this is like a little too harsh. I'm like, it's not harsh, or it's like, that's just the way that I'm like, my brain processes and like formulates.
And the way that you're expressing yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was like a huge hurdle. It's just like I said, like you, especially like if you're a first generation, like I was trying to like get from this like blue collar to white collar world, and it wasn't like a really clean transition for me, at least.
Well, and how did you cope with that? I mean, so you're experiencing these feelings of being just overwhelmed. I'm sure you're stifled by all this new information.
Yeah.
And how do you keep up with it? Did you talk to professors? Did you what did you do?
You find you just find, first of all, I found two like great professors who I think were able to like recognize kind of like that internal struggle I was having.
Okay.
So I mentioned Professor LaFossa, but another professor, I didn't even have her as a professor. Her name was Nicole McConaughey, and she had started at the school my first year. And so everyone got assigned like professor mentors. And like, since it was her first year at the school, she didn't get a student. And like, I, for some reason, didn't get one. Like I fell through the cracks. And so her and I got matched up.
Yeah.
And she was like the first and like only really person there who was like, listen, kid, like I see what you're going through. Like I'm going to help you like reel it in a little bit. So I think one is like finding those professors who are able to like really like, what do like the kids say, like clock your tea, you know what I mean? Get somebody to clock your tea. And then I think another one is like, you'll find your own like community of people. Like my best friend in law school, Carly, like she was just like me, and like we kind of moved through the world together. So like just got to find people who like one can understand you and like almost be like your little interpreter, you know what I mean? Like not to speak on your behalf, but like that you can kind of soundboard off of, to where you can say like, here's what I'm going through, and they're going to say, okay, like I get that we can't present it that way, so let's rework it together. And that's kind of what I looked for, at least.
That's great. So you found a community with your professors. You found, it sounds like, friends that you could, did you study with them as well? Or?
Yes. Me and Carly, we took like all our classes together. We both left with like labor and employment, like ready to rip.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, law school is, its nature is that you, I mean, obviously you're put under a lot of stress, and you have to make friends at least, you know, or find some sort of organization. I mean, you joined, you said the ACLU chapter, Labor Law Society and Employment Lawyers Association.
Yeah.
So you were able to come into these really, I think, amazing leadership roles. How did you try navigating those worlds? And did you know that it was going to be important to join those organizations? Did you just find interest and you hopped into that? Or
yeah, I think mine was more based on interest. So when it came to like Labor Law and Employment Lawyers Association, those groups nobody had really touched like when I was in law school.
No one just like
they just weren't popular? Really like they weren't popular, or like the boards like were just like names on paper.
Yeah.
And so like once I got more into like those types of classes and kind of started doing like just wanting to get plugged in and like knew that that was a job that I think that I wanted to do after law school was kind of why I joined them. Same with like ACLU. I was just always really passionate about like since college.
Yeah.
So for me, when it came to associations, I think it was helpful as like not the end all be all for like my applications to jobs, but it was more so just like a little bit of a stepping stone and like a conversation opener for like the people who were interviewing me.
Which I think definitely can give you a leg up, right, when you're applying. So that's great. And you're in all these different organizations. Sounds like 3 of them. You are also, are you working at this point as well?
Bartending and waiting tables.
Still in law school.
In law school.
Did you do that your first year as well?
No, so there was like a rule. So I started law school in COVID. So I probably should have started with that as why anytime people are like, do you like law school? And I say no. It's because my first year was like during COVID. I started in 2020 and then so like half my classes were on Zoom. Like
that affected your in-person.
Oh my God, it was awful. So like I was not like I would sit at a desk and then like go through all my classes all day and then like stand up, turn around, get in bed. And then like wake up, turn around, sit at that desk. It was awful. So I actually, when I said I'm not a prisoner, I was a prisoner in law school. It was hell.
That makes it worse.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely
not
worse.
Sunlight, going out.
So yeah, I didn't work my first year. And like I think there was like, I don't think any law school student should work their first year.
I was just about to ask for your recommendation.
No, don't do it. Like wait till your second year. And I know it's like tough. Like for me, it was like, okay, man, like I shouldn't because it's going to be tough, but like I have bills to pay.
I was going to say, what do you tell those first gen students who are like, I need to pay rent, I need to pay for this bill, I need to pay for that, but I'm going to law school and maybe you're not married, so you don't have that support, or maybe you are, but what do you say to that person?
You have to save. And I know that sounds like crap, but listen to the advice they gave me. I remember. So I saved money throughout college because I knew like once I decided I want to go to law school, I was like starting to save up money. But I remember we were in like a law school class and they were talking about like all this money that I forget like what the thing was that we had to pay. Oh, I think it was for taking the bar exam. And because the bar exam is like very, very, very expensive for like the actual exam plus the test packages.
This is for West Virginia, right?
Well, this is for, it was like a generalized like, but I remember they had people come in to like speak to us about this. And the woman, she was like, well, like, use like your parents' credit card or like ask for like I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, or ask for like a little bit more money for like Christmas or your birthday, and like just ask your family.
How much are people getting for their birthday?
Right. I was like
$20.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I don't. So I kind of like lost it on her. It was cool.
Okay.
My professor for that class was actually like a U.S. federal court judge, and like after he was like, I'm so thankful for you're the only cynic that I've really seen in this class. And I was like, yeah, right. I appreciate it. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that it is like a harsh reality of this profession is that, I mean, once you're in it, obviously like the money isn't bad. That's why a lot of people do become lawyers, but like getting there, they call it a bar for a reason. You know what I mean? Like it's tough to get through.
Yeah.
So my advice would be, as you get into law school, is just like kind of think about that. Like you're not going to have the time to really work, especially your first year. And like, I don't know, for people, I had to just kind of grunt it out. I was like, I have to work now. Like after that first year was over, I started like the summer after 1L year, started working.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you just have to, that's my only advice. And I know
save up.
Just save up and like mentally prepare that it's going to be,
I mean, no, that's really great advice. I think that there are going to be some students that are probably just going to take out more loans as well, right?
Yeah.
For their living situations as well as their tuition. And it's a reality. It's really hard. And I think it's going to depend on where you end up living as well. I mean, the East Coast is expensive. Utah, everywhere's getting expensive.
Everyone's getting expensive. Point. I mean, like that goes back to like what we were saying about like, think about the scholarships and the tuition of like where you're going to be, because like at the end of the day, like you're going to come out of there with the exact same degree that I came out of, the exact same degree that somebody, like the place I work now, right? Like there are people who went to like T14 law schools working at the same firm I work at.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't go to those schools. I went to West Virginia, like out in the hills and the hollers, but we're at the same spot. And so that's why like my biggest advice to students all the time when I talk about law school, I'm like, it doesn't matter where you go. The thing that matters the most is like your first 5 years out of it, like what you're doing with the work. And I think like for me, even applying to the job I have now out here in Utah at Strong Hanni, my experience doing labor law down in Florida was really helpful, like to get this job. Like I was able to show that like I had done administrative hearings and like kind of work through the legal world and like did my motions and my briefing and all that stuff. Like that was more important than, hey, we saw that you got an A in like contracts, come on in. You know what I mean?
Right.
No one cares about that.
And no one's really going to ask.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing like your OCIs, like your on-campus interviews in law school, or like
Yeah.
these first things, like it's going to carry a little bit more weight.
Percentages of the classes, right?
Yeah,
Rankings,
exactly.
yeah.
So
No, that makes sense. But I mean, yeah, I think, like I said, it's reality. So hopefully somebody listening who's preparing, they're like, I guess I need to save, right? That's just something they have to do. And so you were working, okay, comes second year. So you're to a year of law school and you're working, you're in these clubs, you're, you know, hanging out with your professor, getting advice from them, speaking to your friends. How do you stay sane? Like you are doing so much. He's like, I don't. Like,
no,
how do you organize yourself?
Listen, I was, how old am I? I'm 20. I turned 28 in 10 days.
Oh,
So,
happy
I know,
early
right?
birthday.
Yeah, I had to put that out there for all the comments. Be like, happy birthday.
You'll get a whole bunch of balloons in your office.
Yeah, exactly. And so I will be honest with you, like I was still like in my 20s. So like I would go out, like I would make sure that like, I don't know, I'm really good at like compartmentalizing things. So like I love to like think of a deadline later. Like if I have something due like that weekend and it's Friday, I'm like, okay, well, I'll still have time tomorrow to do it. It's like, I'm still going to go out tonight. So
Procrastinate.
yeah. And like, so I'm not saying procrastinate. I think it's just like keeping it real with yourself and like knowing what, like, yeah, you're still a person, right? Like this is law school. This is like not the end all be all of your life. Like I would drop dead before like I gave up like my social life or like even the TV shows I like to watch. Like I watched The Sopranos during finals week. Like I was like, I have to finish this. And like, I'm not giving that up because of a final. Are you crazy?
Okay.
So I think that's not the best advice. But like, yeah, to stay sane, I kept doing like my routine. Like I just kept doing the things that I enjoyed. I knew that like I wasn't going to give up things that at least gave me some semblance of happiness during like a really stressful period of life, you know?
So just learning to prioritize.
Yeah. Just like
if you work out, if you do like something that's going to keep you still you while knowing that you've got
and like setting up, like I think with law school, it's really easy to do. It's a lot harder as an attorney is like setting up boundaries with like your different responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can treat law school like a 9 to 5. Like you can go in there at 8 a.m., leave the building at 5 and like not have to look back at it. I mean, until like finals week and stuff like that.
Right.
I
It's
think
a
that's
good perspective.
Yeah.
Treating it like a job.
Oh my gosh.
You're done.
The people who were so successful at school, that's what they did. Like they would get in there in the morning, like they would just build it out as if it was a job. So like when they left, they was done for the day, unless they had, I mean, something really big coming up that they could like study more for, read more for. But for the most part, it was like keep it at school. But yeah.
No, I love that. And in law school, did you always know that you wanted to practice like labor law, do what you're doing now? And like,
no,
do you have any idea at all?
No,
what you
I am
do?
so not wishy-washy, but like if something smells good, I'm following it. And so like when I got to law school, I was like, at first I thought I wanted to do family law. I don't know why. I did a little bit of family law.
That's
and
different.
So different. And it was, I hated it. You really
Did you
had
test it out in a class or something, or how?
No, I tested it out when I moved to Utah. It was like the one job I could find just while like I got on my feet. I did a little bit of family law for like 3 months.
Okay, I did not know that.
Oh my God. It was, you have to have like a deep calling to do that. I like, I'm not trying to make light of it, but it was just so horrific for me.
Not for you.
Not
Totally
for me at
fine.
all.
Yeah.
So when I got to law school, it's like, maybe I'll do that. And then I watched the Making a Murder documentary. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do like wrongful convictions and junk science. Done.
No.
And then I took one like criminal class like that. And I was like, this is boring. I don't want to do this. So then I wanted to do health law. I was like, okay, pre-med student, let's get back to that. And then I got like a really bad midterm grade and I was like, I hate this professor, I'm out. So then I got like plugged into like labor and employment law. It's like the same way like college. You know how like a lot of times you go to college, you have no idea.
You try out.
You just try out different things. Yeah. But like with me, like I am fickle. And so when I like, I'm not, when that midterm happened, I think like the situation without like doxing people, we had like a midterm and like somebody cheated on it. And the professor was like, well, instead of like just taking their grade away, I'll move it from like 30% down to 15%. I was like, hold up. I was like, I did really good and I didn't cheat.
Yeah.
I want that. I was like, I want that 30%.
I'm glad you did.
And so then she was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, you've ruined my dreams of being a healthcare lawyer. Thanks a lot.
Oh man. So sometimes it'll depend on the professors, how you're feeling with that
it really
class.
does.
It sucks because it's like, I wonder, if you went to Snyder, like, would you have gone into something different now? I mean,
yeah, no, I mean,
you never know.
Well, I guess it just, like I said, it really just depends on what you do outside of school, like what your first job is, or like what, like for me now, like I didn't have a call to do like the work I do now, it's just like,
Right.
this is kind of interesting.
I know.
I'm not bored and like I get paid for it. It's like, yeah, I'll do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, going into your job now with this, so labor law, I think one of the first things that you've done is you've represented unions for different labor law firms. How was that experience?
Oh my God,
Especially the
I
first
loved
time
it.
you did that.
Yeah. So when I first did it, I worked in Florida and I represented, like, one of our clients was Disney's labor union, which is, I think, the largest
Oh.
union in the world. It's like 80,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And this
Yeah.
was in Florida. So like on one end, we're fighting Disney, who's like a horrible labor corporation. And on the other end, you're fighting like the Florida government, who's also like evil.
Yikes to Mickey
So
Mouse. Yeah.
And so I was like Ron DeSantis and Mickey Mouse, like, I'm really fighting evil here. So I really enjoyed it. Like, it really, like, I was talking about like aura farming. Like, I really farmed a lot of aura down there. Like, and it was a lot of fun. I think that is like a area of law that's very different. Like, especially when you have large labor unions, like, your case could be about like somebody over serving at like Goofy's breakfast place, or it's like somebody was like smoking a joint on like the Tiana's boat ride and they shouldn't have been. So it's like all these different like types of cases that are kind of coming through the door.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, when we represented like different professors and teachers unions, it's like going through like the legislative side of like what laws are being enacted regarding like their paychecks or like their taxes and things like that. So you get like a really good spread, I think, of like administrative and legal type of
Different.
Yeah.
For sure. And then you also get the chance to, I'm assuming you speak to, did you have the chance to speak to people like pretty personally? Or?
Yeah, so like we did like that's I think in Florida I definitely did a lot of like learning client relations, like bedside manners, I guess you could call it, when it comes to like talking to clients.
Client etiquette.
Yeah, exactly, because like it is a lot of interviews. Like
Right.
we really interview people like all the time. Like we just talk and talk and talk and talk all the time. Like when I get to work later today, I have like 4 phone calls to make just
there
to
you go.
ask people.
And you love to talk,
Oh yeah, a little bit.
which I'm thankful for because you're here on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, and then after that, you worked for the Court of Appeals in Pennsylvania.
So
Or you clerked there, right?
I clerked there in law school. So that
okay.
judge that I'd mentioned she's like, why do you want to go? Why do you want to go? And I said, in-ground pool. She just took a liking to me. So she would keep coming into the bar as like I was in college. And so when I finally got to law school, I reached back out to her. And she was like, she's like, yeah, like I usually only take like kids from better schools, is like kind of what she told me.
But
she's
I like you, she
she's like,
said.
yeah, she's like, you're a Bloomsburg kid, so yeah, you can come. And so I clerked for her in Pittsburgh, and that was a lot of fun. She is, we still talk all the time now, but she definitely was kind of up my alley. It was like more socialite than judge. Like my biggest project that summer is like I helped her like bartend and plan this like big event for alumni she had in the courthouse.
Wow.
Like I would hold her purse for her, very like Devil Wears Prada. She was just super cool.
So she was the Meryl Streep of your world.
And so I think that was like a really good lesson in like, just like we as lawyers, especially as like a young lawyer,
Right.
the biggest thing that they try to teach you is like your first client's your boss. Like you're not really pulling people in the door. And if you are, it's like your friend. So it's not like this actually big, like revenue producing type of client. So we have to look at it as like your boss, the partner who's giving you work, is your first client. And so I think she was like really
It's interesting
good for me
perspective,
to like learn that, as in like, you really do have to like have great relationships with the people you work with, versus like other jobs that I've had where it's like the boss is either never there or like in the back office, like you don't really interact with, like you're not collaborating much with.
Yeah.
In my job now, like I collaborate with my supervisors every single day. Like I go to them with questions or like giving them my ideas on how to handle a case and back and forth.
So a collaborative kind of environment, which is great. I mean, that means you get to speak to so many different people at Strong Hanni. So that's fantastic. And okay, so then you clerked there. Let's fast forward over to when you graduated, you took the bar, you passed the bar, which by the way, did that take you multiple times? Or was that a one and done?
No. So when I went to Florida, I took the Florida bar first, and they don't do like the standard. So there's like 33 states that take the standard bar, like Utah and West Virginia, like they have the same exam. So when I was living in Florida, I went. My flight got delayed by like 18 hours, and then it got moved, and so I had to fly into Orlando when the test is in Tampa. So then I think, like, I left my house, I think the bar was Tuesday. I left Sunday, and I didn't get to Florida until Tuesday morning at like 5 a.m. So then I drove to the bar exam and took it after like being in the airport for like a whole day. So I failed that bar straight away. I was like, yep, not passing this.
Yeah.
And then I failed it again in Florida.
Oh,
and then that's when I was like, maybe Florida just really isn't for me. And then
what in the world made you think about Utah?
My best friend in law school, so he was up in West Virginia, not really enjoying it, where he was working, and I was in Florida. And so we were just commiserating one day. And he was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to go to Utah. Like, I like to ski. Like, the weather, it looks sick. I've been looking at Salt Lake City. And I was like, F it, I'll go. And so we both literally last summer, in summer of 2024, we both were just like, screw it. And we both moved out to Utah.
Wow. And so you were kind of just like, I'm going to explore, but was there anything else? I mean, apart from them having a position for you at Strong Hanni,
so
like, how did that?
Nope. Just
you were just I'm going to go blindly and
same
check
way.
out.
Yeah. Same way I did with like Florida. I was just like, screw it, I'll go to Florida. Same with West Virginia. Never been there before. I was like, screw it, I'll go. Like, I'm very cool with just like new adventure. Let's do it. And so, yeah, I actually worked. When I came out here with my friend, we both worked at the same family law firm. He had gotten a job doing family law out here in West Jordan. And then I had kind of followed suit. He was like, yeah, come join this. It did not work out for us. It was a really bad spot. So then he went to Strong Hanni and he goes, hey, I feel like I really owe you one. I got you to move out to Utah and I got you that bad job. You should now apply to Strong Hanni. So I did, and then got in there. And then I think actually today is my year anniversary there. I started last year after MLK
That's
Day.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, and what's made it a good fit for you? He's listening now.
Oh, right. They probably will. I love them so much. I would never turn against them. They're my favorite. It's just like I don't know. Like, there's just so many opportunities there. Like, I work for a lot of different partners in the firm. I get a lot of different experience. There's some labor experience I've done. I do some construction and work that I really like. I even get to work on like plane and like aviation cases, which are like super rare and unique.
Well, can you like kind of explain that for people listening?
Yeah.
Like, aviation, construction, like what is
so
entail?
Aviation is, I mean, really like
planes. Yeah.
Unfortunately, like plane crashes. So that one's not as like fun, but it is like interesting, like to like go into like the like FAA, like Aviations Act and things like that. Construction is like buildings going up. Like, a lot of these, if anyone has to like ever drive downtown or like through different neighborhoods of Salt Lake and they're mad about the big apartment constructions, I'm so sorry. That is probably our client, like that kind of stuff. And then insurance defense, which I know some people like don't like. They think it's kind of like cheesy, but it's like these big like Progressive and like the big insurance companies you see all of the commercials for. It's like any of their clients, whether that's like a trucking company who may have gotten a car accident, or it's a restaurant who may have overserved somebody, or it's like a construction company.
Right.
Those things I think are very fun. Like, I have so many cases that are just kind of like all over the place and like different like things that like make no sense. Like, and it's funny because they all come from like the same client, if that makes sense, like the same insurance company, but it's just all over the place. So I enjoy it a lot.
I mean, that's really interesting. What does your day-to-day even look like when you have different cases like that?
Yeah, it's a lot of like triage and like crisis management. I always schedule things like in the afternoon because I know that my mornings are just like going through emails of like all the different cases and just trying to like plug holes. Like, that's why like I like to work on the weekends a lot, because it's like the time where no one's emailing me and like no one else is working, and so it allows me to like get caught back up and like get everything to like base level again. But yeah, a day in the life is just, it's weird. There's like two sides of being a lawyer. Like, you have like the motion practice, I think, which is like the larger projects. It's like those you kind of are like constantly working on. But then, you just have these like little tiny details and like little minuscule tasks that they might seem like very pointless, like call this guy or like email them back, but like you just have to keep on top of them constantly.
And do you ever, I mean, I know some people have their 5 to 9 before their 9 to 5. Like, do you have something like that in place? And then also, I guess 2 questions. So do you have something in place? And then do you have a way of learning more about something when you reach like a case and you're like, I don't know what that means. I'm going to do some research about that.
Yeah. So 5 to 9, like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
No, I don't get up. Listen, I will never get up. My mom said the same thing. Like, we don't get up before the sun. There's no way to do that. So
some people do. So that's why.
No, I can't. Like, I think there's like, you have to look into like the different types of like people, like the lion type and like the butterfly type, and it's like just based on like what time you work best.
Gotcha.
I'm not like that at all. I work best at like night. Like I'm an owl type.
Okay.
So yeah, no, nothing like that. I do have like my 5 to 9 p.m. or like after like work, I like to go out because I'm like young, single, living in the city. Like the world's
Go
at
to the
that's
restaurant.
what I'm saying. Like
go
the
to
world is at my fingertips. Like
Yeah.
I'm obviously gonna continue my social life the same way I was
Right.
saying about like in law school. Like I kept going with the things I'm going with.
Yeah.
What was the other question?
No, that's great. It's my fault for asking them right, next to each other. But the other question was, okay, let's say you've got an aviation case and you're like,
Oh yeah.
what in the world does that even mean? Like, do you spend time researching?
Yes.
Do you consult with somebody? How does that work?
So it's like I said, very collaborative. I am really like fortunate to work with a lot of people like my age that I would like consider friends, and so it's very easy to kind of start those conversations.
Okay.
Or to have like where we just are chilling in one another's office and we kind of just like roll over from like talking about like what we like our personal stuff and like joking around and then be like, oh, by the way, I have this thing going on in this case, and like we're really good at like switching back and forth.
Yeah.
But I'm very nosy. And I like to be right most of the time. And so when I get cases like that where
Which is good if you're going to be a lawyer.
yeah, like I don't take it personally, but I do take it as like, how dare anybody bring such a frivolous claim against my client? And they probably are right sometimes. Like it's like law is not as black and white as that. Like it's very nuanced. But for me, I like to go into things thinking like, well, I know I'm right on this. Like no one can stop me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like very much, again, aura farming. Like I like to make sure that like when I am very well researched so that when I do have to have a discussion with opposing counsel or to talk to the client, that it's like, okay, well, this kid's like really on top of it. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, I do a lot of like research on just any issue, even down to like who filed this. Like if you send me an email, I'm looking at your headshot on your website within 0.2 seconds. Like I need to know everything about you right
Some
now.
LinkedIn stuff.
Yeah, like I'm really, so many notifications go out like you've been viewed by Eli because I'm on people the minute I see their name. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, oh, did you look at my LinkedIn when we were
Yep,
probably yeah. That's great. And we're coming at the end of some of these questions I have here. And so something that I also want to ask is, I mean, you've got this amazing journey. You went from Pennsylvania, you've had time in West Virginia, you've worked in Florida, Orlando specifically, right? And then now you're in Salt Lake City, Utah. How do you feel like all these experiences have shaped your view of the legal profession in general?
I think that it's made me realize that, like the legal profession, it's really not like it is a profession, but it's not. I'm trying to think how to say this. It's very much like my profession. It's me. It's like this is my career. Like I don't think of it as in like I'm a part of a group. Like I'm not in a school of fish that's moving along through things. Like the way I have moved from all over the place, it's because that I have kind of like my own autonomy. I have my own skill set from law school and my jobs. I have my own degrees and certifications and bars. And so it's kind of helped me realize that like I can kind of do whatever the hell I want. You know what I mean? And like not in like a go break laws, but like in a way that like I can kind of take myself anywhere. Like as my life changes and I go through different phases of life and seasons, I can pick up and go to a new state and I'll be able to do the same thing. I'll be able to pick up a new type of law. And I think like going from place to place and working different areas of law, it just gives you a wider net of experiences and of things that you've done to where it just opens you up for more and more opportunities.
And how do you feel like, you're exploring all these opportunities? You've had such an amazing journey so far and you're at the beginning, I'd say, of your career. What does your work-life balance look like now?
It's bad right now. It's kind of bad. I'm so busy, but I like that. Like I have a lot of cases and I have a lot of, I guess, open time to like do so. Like I said, I'm 27 right now. I have one cat. Like I don't have kids. I don't have like a spouse. Like I really am free to just kind of work and like grow the professional Eli into like that person who can just like pick up and go to California if he wants to in the future and work there. Like, so right now I'm in the buckle down phase, if that makes sense.
Building yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and everyone, I think you've made this pretty apparent, is everyone's going to have such a different trajectory. Everyone has such unique experiences, and everyone listening to this podcast is going to have an amazing and very unique experience as well. And no law journey is the same. No work experience is the same, even if you do end up working like in labor law or doing aviation like Eli. But everyone's going to have their own experiences because we all handle it differently too. So, I mean, these tips have been wonderful. One last question, and then I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions here. The one final question, just if you could give it to those listening in a sentence or in a phrase, final advice for these first gen students, especially, but just pre-law individuals preparing for law school, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I tell this to a lot of like my UCLI mentees. Like my advice is it'll buff. You know, like you scratch your car and like you kind of like lick your finger and rub it out. It'll buff. Like I remember being in law school. I remember walking down this dirt path, like out of the building behind this like little power thing and just like crying and screaming because I was so frustrated. And then I kind of popped up and I'm like, oh my God, it'll buff. Yeah. Everything will work out. Yeah. The worst day of your life means it's behind you. You know what I mean? Like it'll buff. You'll get through this. You will get a job. You will be successful in all of these things that you're going through now. Through your pre-law and law school journey will seem very, very minuscule and a lot shorter time than you think it will. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. That's amazing advice. I'll have to make a sticker.
It'll buff.
It'll buff. It'll buff out. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Eli.
For sure.
This has been amazing for me to listen to your experience. And, you know, I think also to those listening, it's possible. Whatever your GPA, you know, whatever LSAT score, at the end of the day, there's a law school for you. And at the end of the day, there's a job for you. So I'll go ahead and ask some rapid fire questions here. I'm so excited.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. Favorite Zelda game of all time?
Twilight Princess. Shout out Midna.
Your cat's name is Wayne. How did that happen?
So he's all gray. My friends found him like outside, and I wanted like an old Western name, like a Smokey Joe, Cactus
I was thinking
Jack.
I was like Batman. Is that
No. Like it was like more along the Western, like maybe like a John Wayne. But I'm also from Waynesboro, like Pennsylvania, and so maybe that was in the back of my mind.
I see the connection.
My friend's dad is named Wayne. Maybe he meant a lot to me. I don't know.
So I'm gonna name him Wayne. Okay, you get a free pass onto any reality show. Which one are you picking and why?
I'm a big Survivor fan, but I've been realizing like it's not for me because I don't really like to be dirty. Like even if I get like dirt under my fingernails, I'm like, I gotta go home and clean up. So maybe like Big Brother, I think, where I'm living in a house, there's like food provided, you know?
Okay, best restaurant in Salt Lake City so far and why?
Okay, best bang for your buck is Copper Onion. I call it the Cop. It's very affordable. It's
never been there.
Oh my God, it's so good. But like overall best restaurant, I'm still in the hunt for that.
Okay, so that's still
the Cop is like that's the first that comes to my mind is the Copper Onion.
The Copper Onion or the Cop.
Or
okay.
The Cop.
I'm making an album of songs by legal professionals. What's your go-to song?
Oh, okay. I thought about this because I want to have the best song on the playlist, and for that I have to give you. It's called "Found" by Portraits of Tracy.
Portraits of Tracy?
Yeah, that's the artist, and the song's called "Found."
Okay, I'll add it to
but
the
there's
list.
so many good songs. On the way over here, I was jamming. But
okay. And then last one here. What's something people would never guess about you?
I'm a really good singer, and maybe that's just because I was listening like Tamar Braxton on the way over here, and I was really into it. But like I think I'm a really good singer. That's what they need to know.
Okay, maybe we'll have to do another episode in the future, and you and I will sing.
Yeah,
we'll have to have that one. And then last thing here. Imagine. I'm going to encourage you to close your eyes here for a second. Okay. Imagine the version of yourself in high school or in early college before you ever envisioned becoming an attorney. If you could speak to that younger Eli, what wisdom would you offer him for the path ahead?
I would tell him to cut his hair in senior year. I used to have like a really long flow that I would like tie back with my sister's pre-wrap. Don't do that.
Oh no.
But yeah, other than that, I'd say it'll buff.
It'll buff.
That's it.
It will buff. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Eli,
Sabrina,
for sharing your story and for, everyone listening. This has been Eli Leggett with us here at the UCLI Legal Lounge. Thank you so much, Eli. It was a pleasure.